Welcome back to the Simply His Coffee Shop. We have all heard the saying, laughter is the best medicine. The Bible even talks about laughing being good for the soul. So on today's program, we are going to be laughing a lot. Aren't you excited?
Glad I wore Depends.
No, but laughing, and I know so many people get attracted to somebody that has that joy or is often laughing and happy. Mm-hmm. It just makes you feel so much better. And then, when you spill something and you can either laugh or cry, it's like, which one do I want to do? Well, let's laugh because there's no point in crying over spilled milk, right? Right. So let's laugh at ourselves. So it's good for us.
That's a good way to think of it. Well, I'll launch us off. I will start this out. We're going to be covering a few things, everything from bulletin bloopers, to church sign,
silliness,
funnies, and to personal experiences. So I'm going to start just with a personal experience. I'm going to throw Joe and Donna under the bus to start out.
Thankful.
Woo! All right.
Hey. And did you see how that didn't take the audience any time at all? They don't even know what's coming, but they're on board already.
They're here for it.
We're being thrown under the bus. I'm down. Let's do it.
Well, all right, you guys are going to love this one. So, Donna was probably around, 3 or 4 years old, and Joe was probably 7 or 8. Anyway, one of the main people in our district, which is a state, his wife had passed away. This was a very, very, very well-known woman. And they had chosen our church to have this big memorial for her. And so there were dignitaries of the district there. I mean, the church was packed. and I'm sitting in the back because they're younger and smaller, and I wanted to make sure that I had a quick escape in case I needed to paddle one of them.
She looks at Joe. Just saying, details.
So they had all kinds of different music scores and et cetera, but then this one person stood up to sing, and they had a very, very operatic style of singing. And Donna's shaking because she remembers the name.
Yeah, I'm remembering now.
So, yeah. And so I'm sitting back there, and I'm trying to participate in the whole event. I feel very, very bad that this is a tragedy here, that this woman has passed. But I've got these two little ones, and it reminds me so much, just saying, of their two younger ones, Thomas and Becca. The way they interact with each other, it's just they irritate, but they're inseparable. But we're sitting there, and these two, they start doing this with their hand, and out loud. Right in the middle of this, and and they were harmonizing together. There was no stopping it. I could not get them out the back door fast.
I'd have been under the pew.
I don't know if anybody else heard it because I was afraid to go back in there. But
you were mocking her in perfect harmony?
Well, not perfect harmony.
Part
I'm just saying I should have said stereo. Okay, so there was stereo going on here. You had one arm, and you guys were and it was loud.
But I vaguely remember that lady.
Oh, it happened.
And she was doing that for dramatic emphasis. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember, what song.
To mimic it.
What song she was doing?
I don't remember the song.
It was something like the old rugged craw. There was a word that gave her the opportunity. No, I know. Althea's over here dying. But it was one of those that gave her the opportunity, and there was this one word. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to mock because it's mean. Right. But I had no issues at 7 or 8.
Yeah.
The old rugged cross. And you're not aware at 7 that this is just embarrassing. Hopefully she was loud enough that nobody caught that. But
I don't know how many. I heard it very loud, and I was out the back door. But I know there was really no real maliciousness because you guys were just being kids. But still, as a mom, I'm out the door, man.
Dying.
Goodbye. Checking out. So
in the car.
I would love, now we live in a cell phone age.
Oh.
Would love to see a video of that now, just to see, if anybody caught it or heard what we did.
Just video your two kids. Eventually, you'll catch it.
No, now, okay. Go ahead.
That was my personal experience just off the top of my head that I could remember.
Poor Catherine. You're paying for his raisin.
Yeah.
I will say in my defense, which is a pretty shallow and very thin one, very easy to attack and get through the barricades on. But my parents were pastors. And if you're a pastor's kid, you know. No, you know.
You know.
That most of your life is sitting in a pew and being expected
Yes.
with ADHD and OCD,
Yes.
in my case, to be quiet and reverent. And
Yep.
it's just, and you know,
Get to wear
mom and dad were the best.
tithing.
Yeah, the little tithing envelopes or the little pledge thing, those were all just, papers that you would draw on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, being expected to sit there quietly and reverently. And then, of course, my parents, they were involved in everything. So not only
There
was
all
it
the time.
Wednesdays and Thursdays and most,
Yeah.
sometimes Saturdays if
We're
there's a
very
cantata
active.
going on, and then Sundays and Sunday afternoons because they're
Right.
doing the prayer thing. In addition to all of that, then when they would be invited to a home, I'm just gonna tell you, they would be invited to somebody's home.
Yep.
I don't know if this is true or if just the way my childhood memory remembers all this, but I remember most of the invites would come from senior citizens who, at the very most, once upon a time had a grandchild who maybe visited often enough that there might be a closet somewhere with a puzzle. And you guys, I mean, if you're lucky, there's a puzzle.
Yes.
Puzzle. And then, as a kid, every hour feels like 5.
Yep.
Oh,
So
right.
what was to me a prison sentence
Eternity.
would go by, and then eventually you'd hear the, well, and was that the well? My dad had the signature well. Well, and he's posturing up. This could be good. This could be the moment we've been waiting for. We're about out of here. We're going to get out on good behavior. Right? And finally, you'd be congregating around his, the arm of his chair, and then the devastating body language. Right? Oh no, don't get re-engaged. You said, well, I heard it. I saw it. No takesy backsies. Right? Well, we better. There it is. We're gaining speed now. He's leaning. And then the devastating body language. Right.
Relaxing
Right.
back in the chair.
We're dead.
And you're the pastor's kid.
Oh, you can't
so
say
you
nothing.
can't react. If you do, there's going to be some sister Bertha better than you is always going to glare you down.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear what Pastor Horn's son said? Just because you're like, Dad,
did.
can we go?
There was this one house. This ain't even funny. It was
my
just devastating.
gosh.
There was this one house, though. And I remember it because Dad negated this person's level of outrage. But this guy, man, he had a pink grapefruit tree in his backyard. Don't say names, but
No, I know where you're at.
the likelihood of these people watching this program, I mean, they were very senior 30 years ago. So they had this grapefruit tree in their backyard. And this guy, I had no idea, man, this guy, his life was these grapefruit trees.
Oh, no.
He was retired, and this was his world. He had created this beautiful, he's out there trimmed perfectly round, almost like out of an Alice in Wonderland cartoon type thing. And there was not a grapefruit on the ground. He was the grapefruit trees. These were the grapefruit trees. You don't touch the grapefruit trees. I didn't know that you don't touch
Oh, no.
grapefruit trees. I got a stick.
Oh, no.
And I whacked this guy's
No, you
grapefruit tree into tomorrow, right? And Allie, my oldest sister there, no, I'm serious. Unmercifully. I'm bored out of my mind.
At least you got to go in the backyard.
No, listen, no toys, no puzzles. This grapefruit tree
Going down.
is going down. I grabbed this stick. I must have knocked 20 of these grapefruits down all over the ground. And this whole guy, man, he had no problem at all being apoplectic, fit to be tied over this grapefruit tree. He comes out and he literally, it was like he had walked upon a murder scene. Just a crime, I could just,
Scene of the
as a
crime.
kid, I could see him taking white tape and like going on the ground around this great
Forensic files.
forensic caution tape off around the grapefruit tree.
Printing you.
This guy scared me though, because normally in the presence of your parents, people would be a little more measured, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
restrained.
He had no problem with my parents sitting right there. And he's like, "Young man, what have you done? Don't you know?" And I can't remember all the words or the assertions, but it was just general theme of a murder had taken place. A travesty to humanity because this grapefruit tree had been obliterated. You know, it was everything from the loss of the grapefruits. There's nobody anywhere that can eat all these, which even as a kid, I was thinking, you have like 4 of these trees with 10 million grapefruits. Who ever in this lifetime would have ever eaten all of these?
Right, exactly.
At some point, you'd have to pick them and give them out or something? Why don't you
Give
just
them
pick
away?
those up? But anyway, I don't know why that's funny now. Maybe it's funny now. But so my dad, in this man's home, he's respectful and he lets him. But the whole time this guy is just tearing into me about the grapefruit trees, my dad is doing this to me. He's going like this. He's going. Which to me meant this is not good and you're in a degree of trouble. But I after this horror show probably won't add insult to injury. This is probably sufficient because he could tell I was just, I mean, there's a layer of not going into somebody's yard and beating to death an innocent grapefruit tree. Right?
What
But-
did it ever do to you?
Hey, this could be a lesson. This could be a teachable moment, okay? Have something, at least a puzzle, in your house. If you have a redhead with ADHD OCD on steroids for 5 hours,
Right.
or at least confiscate all the reachable sticks and broomsticks, right?
That reminds me of the time that Joe and Allie, I was too little. I think I was actually a toddler, but I've seen the clip a million times because we captured it on video where Joe and Allie were getting baptized. It was either in Crescent City or it was when we first moved to the general Portland, Oregon area. And Allie's like 11, I think, or 12. That would have put Joe around the 8 or 9 mark or something like that. And Dad is up there, and he motions for Allie to come up, and she's so cute, this little like 11 or 12-year-old girl. Mm-hmm. She goes, "My name is Allie, and I love God." Like this, she like covers her mouth, like she just is giggly, and it was really adorable.
Cute.
And Dad goes, "All right, her name is Allie, and she loves the Lord. I baptize you." And he goes forward with the baptism, and everybody's cheering, and it's adorable. And then Dad lifts Joe up to the microphone, and Joe's just like this. Mad, doesn't want to be there, and I see him kind of hesitate for a second. He goes, "I don't want to say nothing." And so Dad goes, "Well, this is Joe, and he don't want to say nothing, and I think that's okay." Baptized him anyway, but cracked me up because I spent my entire life thinking that was like a pretty normal thing, that a kid wouldn't want to say anything. And then like 20 years went by, I hadn't seen the clip, and I was watching it as a mother again, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is the funniest thing." Just, I don't want to say nothing. You're about to be baptized.
That clip, actually, the one you're talking about, it actually is in this forthcoming Rescue Us series.
Oh, how funny.
Oh, fun.
It's during this part where it's kind of like a true Hollywood story on Mom and Dad, showing them from childhood to current day and why they founded Whispering Ponies Ranch. But anyway, during the series of reels from when they were young pastors, that pops up. So
Oh my
if you
goodness.
see Rescue Us episode 4, you'll get a chance to see that.
How fun.
That's
I don't wanna say
funny.
nothing.
Well, on your note, I can relate to that a lot because I grew up as a missionary kid. So
Yeah.
we were Sunday morning you were in one church, Sunday night you were in a different church, Wednesday night you were in a different church. But thankfully, though, we did have a motorhome. We usually lived in a motorhome. So sometimes, depending on where the motorhome was parked, us kids could go back and we'd have our own stuff.
Right.
But yeah, you were just bored out of your gourd, and you'd always ask, "Does the pastor have kids? Does the pastor have kids?"
Yeah,
So that
right.
then you at
I
least
remember
had
that.
somebody to play with, maybe. Plus, the chances of them having toys was a lot higher too.
I remember that.
So that always helped. But yeah, you'd go around. We got to where it was a good thing because we got to learn how to actually talk to adults too. So we were very versed in how to communicate with adults, but still it was super boring sometimes.
Well, that's
just
because
sitting
you're
there.
more intelligent than I am.
Well,
I didn't
there
learn
is
anything.
that. No, I'm just kidding.
All the girls in the audience clap.
Well, no, I wish I could look back and say I learned anything. I learned how to relate to that other kid that's out there that's out of his gourd board, but
Knocking fruit out of
No,
trees.
that's true. No, that's true. I can attest to
Love
that. Years and years later, when we were in the camping ministry, we had a number of young, youthful, between the ages of 15 to 20, young men that had come to work with us that were not excelling at their job in certain areas, and you were the only one.
Yep.
You had a nickname, Big H.
Yep.
And you were the only one. And Big H, it was time for Big H to intervene. And you could see it, what nobody else could see. And you would walk in and you would be like, well, I can tell he's bored over here. He's ADHD over here. He's having a hard time. He's OCD over here. And I watched as you actually mentored and
Yeah.
brought the best out of over and over again, every summer in a row.
Every summer.
Yeah.
And some of those kids still keep in touch with you.
well, thank you for saying that, Donna.
Yeah.
Hey.
That was a blessing. Yeah, that was a real. Yeah, that was a very lethargic rolling clap. We'll give him this one.
No, it was a
one.
hashtag slow clap. Here, I'll start it again.
Oh,
There you go.
Legacy clap.
you see, Mom?
Legacy clap.
Mom, you don't have to feel guilty at all for making me sit through all of that. There was ministry in it.
Right? It's for the Lord.
Yeah. I had to sit through all that for the Lord. Good job. I hope you and your dad are really proud of yourselves.
If we're speaking of just funny ministry moments, do you remember at the Warrior Women Conference last, I think, February? And I was leading, it was a very final morning. Mom, you're already giggling. It was the very final morning. I had used the restroom because I was just getting ready to go on and preach, and I was the very final keynote speaker we were going to release later on that morning after I preached. And I am on my way up, and I feel this breeze on a really high part of my leg. And at this very moment, there's a woman who's trying to get my attention over here, and she's, yeah, Donna, and I'm like, hang on a second. And I reach over and I pull my dress out of the back of my underthings. And I don't even know how that happened, but I was walking up to start preaching a sermon. And it would have been
Oh, my
full scale.
goodness.
So this woman's just now she's snickering. And as I'm walking up and I'm already mic'd and everything, or whatever it was, already on the sound system. And I'm like standing there going, that was anointed. Remember? Just not my most shining moment getting ready to flash
Oh,
the
my
whole room.
goodness.
I did end up actually catching it right in time. Thanks for the breeze. Yes.
Can you imagine?
Thank you for the breeze.
Yes, thankfully it was a pretty warm day.
And you might have wondered if she had not caught that why your audience was so engaged. the whole time.
Or why they're all laughing.
Must be the
or
anointing.
whispering.
These ladies are really interested in my speech today.
They're even taking pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
my gosh, this is so
They have to
hilarious.
blur the entirety of the conference DVD every time Donna's talking.
In the media department post.
Yeah, yeah.
Blur.
There's this little bubble
The box.
following her
I see the
around.
box. Box is just, she gets anointed and starts going around the podium. Oh, that's
Oh my
funny.
goodness. Oh, that's crazy. Stuff that happens in the pulpit sometimes.
That's not the only time something like that has happened, too. I was actually on this really, really chaotic tour with Dorothy Spalding, going from one TV show in Georgia after another after another. I don't know why I did this, but before we went, I had taken 2 identical dresses. And I had no idea why I did it, but my weight had fluctuated a little bit that year. So I had 2 dresses. One was a size large and one was an XL. Same exact dress other than that. And I packed them both. And even when I was packing them, I'm like, why am I doing this? I am not the overpacker. I'm like the underpacker. I'll take the bare essentials and
Right.
I'll figure it out when I get there. I took them both. And then I'm in the bathroom right before I go on TV. And I realized, that's why I packed that. I'm standing in and I go to put on this dress because I had gone there in sweats and I was changing into my TV stuff. Dropped the whole thing in the toilet. So then I was like with one of the girls I was with, I was like, hey, you run to my bag and get the dress that I just threw in the toilet. Get the XL and bring it to me. So she brought me this dress and I ended up
my.
taking that other thing and just throwing it in the garbage. It had a tear in the shoulder anyway. But what is my deal with doing something right before I go on this stage, a conference or something.
Oh, my goodness. We haven't heard from you, Cherise. What experiences can you share?
Oh, plenty. None that I can speak of. Thinking, my dad's a comedian, been in Branson for years. And so a lot of times when he's doing shows, he'll do like bloopers of the church bulletin. It's actual church bulletins that, there's been a typo. Somebody got a little too quick with trying to get it done. And, of course, some volunteers. Okay. So I found a few of these, and I thought it'd kind of be, fun to read some of them. So this one, Barbara remains in the hospital and needs blood donors for more transfusions. She's also having trouble sleeping and requests tapes of Pastor Nelson's sermons. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Insomnia.
Yeah, because that's not a typo. They just didn't think about what they were saying.
Exactly.
The anesthesia's not working. Have him preach more.
I need more tapes. Isn't that great?
Sleep.
Just lulls her right.
Medication's not strong enough. Keep talking.
This one was, applications are now being accepted for 2-year-old nursery workers. So the nursery is run by the nursery.
Yeah.
Because that's probably fine.
They're getting desperate in there.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. This was one that Daddy used in his shows for years. The ladies of the church have cast off clothing of every kind. They may be seen in the basement on Friday afternoon.
Wait. What was the intended context?
I don't know. Maybe they were going to be like having a rummage sale or
That's what I'm
something.
thinking.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We forgot to advertise the sale factor.
Well, was it a popular event, though?
It was packed. It was like Easter at church. The associate minister unveiled the church's new tithing campaign slogan last Sunday. I upped my pledge, up yours.
Like he's really sticking it to his congregation. Yeah. I'm doing my part. What about you?
Yeah, what a slogan. What a slogan. This one is a typo. This evening at 7 p.m., there will be a hymn singing in the park across from the church. Bring a blanket and come prepared to sin. What? Instead of sing, we left the G off sin.
Oh.
Yeah. Be prepared
So
to
a
sing.
typo.
Right.
Not sin.
Yeah. Other
What
refreshments
kind of
we will not mention.
Babylonian worship service is this?
Yeah.
Exactly. What?
Yeah. Who are we singing to?
Exactly. Oh, wow. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I love it. These are real. You can't make this stuff up.
It's just scarier though when they're more attended.
Oh yeah, right. Hey,
You get guests and
We have-
visitors.
how
This
come-
is a different church.
This is a big crowd.
Just to sing? You don't realize till later.
That's hilarious. The outreach committee has enlisted 25 visitors to make calls on people who are not afflicted with any church. Instead of affiliated. Afflicted.
Yeah. Afflicted.
Afflicted.
Nice.
This one makes me think of you.
Okay.
Just because of our history with potlucks.
Oh,
Oh, no.
I'm telling that one.
Yeah.
Potluck supper Sunday at 5 p.m. Prayer and medication to follow.
They must have meant meditation.
I've been to that potluck. I went to that one.
Too, yeah.
Been to that several times.
Yeah.
Had lots of medication after that one. This one makes me think of Catherine. Announcement to the moms who care ladies group. There will be no moms who care this week. It's like you're not thinking about, maybe we should, You'll like this one. I thought of Donna on this
moms
one.
that care.
There's no moms that care today.
The
We're
class on prophecy has been canceled due to unforeseen circumstances.
That's ironic, isn't it?
I don't like that one. there's like we were talking about some sign wars, you know, and how certain businesses are doing sign wars and, you know, kind of getting the community involved. Well, some of these are thought-provoking and some of these are really funny. So these are what was on the actual church sign. I thought this one was really good, and it's like, oh, snap, hello. Acting perfect in church is like dressing up for an x-ray. Like, wow, okay. So this one is probably right now where we live somewhere because it says, too hot to keep changing the sign. Sin bad, Jesus good, details inside.
Yeah, we need to do that one right now.
Way too hot. Some people forget how to pray until the cop makes a U-turn.
And then it gets real.
That's pretty funny. This one must be up north. How many verses in the Bible are about eagles and patriots? Eagles 33, Patriots 0. Little good football.
It's football season.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep. This one's pretty accurate. God wants to have spiritual fruit, not be religious nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
that's true.
All the moms in here are going to relate to this one. If evolution is true, then why do moms only have 2 hands?
Yep.
I think about that every day.
Yep.
Yep, that's a good one, too.
See, this one's really funny. This sign is for dyslexic atheists. There is a dog.
There is a
I've heard
dog.
that one. I've heard that one before.
I thought that was hilarious.
I've seen that one before.
That's so
That's
funny.
a funny one.
It is funny. That's all I got.
Well, I have a couple of those. This one says, to those who stole our air conditioning units, keep one. You're going to need it where you're going.
Oh. Ouch.
True.
Wow.
That's a bit harsh.
That's a bit blunt.
I mean, there it is, black and white. Respect your parents. They passed school without Google.
Oh. Yes.
One more on the church signs. It's inflation hasn't affected the price of salvation.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good
That was
one.
good.
My favorite
That's a
one.
good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. So tell your potluck deal.
See, now I'm choked. I've laughed until I choked. I don't laugh a lot anymore with responsibility and serious, which is part of the reason
Oh, I
I guess
get
you
it.
guys have decided
That's why
to do
we
this
wanted
show.
to do this.
Coming off of summer camp and
We needed
all
this,
the things.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, of the regimen of supplements and all the things
Intense.
I do, like my respiratory system's going, what is this thing you're doing right now?
Why are your lungs working so
Yeah,
hard?
what is this? Okay, so the potluck story. We moved to Missouri, 14 years ago?
No,
15?
Kate's 18, so 16 years ago. 17 years
it's
ago.
hard to
That we-
believe
almost
it's
17
been that long.
Yeah.
But, I've known Cherise almost that whole time.
Yeah.
We had not been here very long when we started attending Bruce's church. And, I'm not a potluck guy.
What?
And like buffets. Okay,
Back up.
Here's a story.
buffets. Buffets. Let me ask you a question. No, listen, and every time I ask somebody this, I'm going to ruin buffets for like everybody watching this
Yes,
show.
you are.
It's not already a germaphobe, but here's the thing. Buffets. Why do you think that you see people going through the buffet and licking their fingers? It's because the tongs and the dippers are soiled when you touch them, right? Why do you think they're soiled and wet when you touch them? Because the people before you were going like this. It's this cyclical, like,
Lick the
no,
handrail.
seriously, how many times? Watch the next time you're at a buffet. And you will see,
Better yet, don't go to a buffet. PSA.
Yeah. Yeah.
what in the world? I've never understood in my life why the natural reaction to things on your fingers that you don't want there go in the mouth.
Thank you.
Oh, I know.
Thank you.
Okay, so having covered the buffet, extrapolate a lot of that to now church potlucks. Now, bless your heart, everybody's sweet. I love the people that bring the food.
Precious.
And I do love the idea of coming together and doing a potluck.
Yeah.
But after food poisoning, you don't ever want to play that game of roulette again. And then, of course,
Yeah.
you get to know a lot of the families. And I don't want to get into specifics because it'll identify with too many people that'll think I'm hacking on them personally. But people have pets that are allowed on countertops
Yes.
where they then
Yep.
prepare raw meat. And I don't know what you did. I'm not eating it.
What's my rule? What's my rule? The dish, I want a 4x5 index card of everything that's in this, and I want a picture of your kitchen the day you made it. Yeah.
Okay, so what Charisse just said. Well, I figured this out about Charisse, right? Catherine and I had found a home church where we're allowed to go to potlucks. Because Charisse had been in this church for years, and her and I worked out like a safe signal, right? So I go through the potluck, and literally, she knows me because we've met. We've discovered that we feel the same. And so she's the insider. She's got all the
I'm
scoops.
working in the kitchen, so I know
She
who's
works in
brought
the
what.
kitchen. She knows the families. So I'm going through the buffet / potluck. And literally, this was the system. Charisse is over here, right? And I would hover over a dish that looks interesting, and I would look at her. And she would go,
True story.
ooh, that looks good. She'd go, we just keep moving. Right? And so there was this awesome subliminal like eye contact for approval system. And I, for the first time in a decade, was okay having a
Get
potluck.
sick after a potluck.
And I didn't get food poisoning.
Yep. I call them potluck roulette.
Potluck roulette. That's a good way to title them.
Sure.
But
That's hilarious.
I got a parasite called Campylobacter after a bad sausage incident one year that sent me to the ER.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I've had E. coli, and it is.
It would have killed you.
You don't play roulette after you've done that.
No,
I know.
So-
You really don't.
Hence the picture and the 4x5 index card.
No, that was a serious deal. I actually got a call from the
It
center
was the
of
health department.
the health and food department division of Missouri.
Wow.
Yeah.
That called me, and it was kind of a thing. Like,
Yeah, it
Mr.
was.
Horn, can you tell me where you were? And I didn't want to give up information because I did not want
Sure.
anyone that I got the sausage from to now
Right.
Yeah.
Feel
have to feed.
Right.
Yeah, no, I just
like you were narking.
I didn't lie either. I just straight up said, no, I'm not comfortable. I'm just not comfortable. It was sausage. I knew about 3 hours after I ate it, I had been duped.
We are having so much fun with this laughter thing. We are going to continue it next week. Please don't miss it. We'll see you next week in the Simply Is Coffee Shop.